All right, and we back. You know what it is, man. This is one half of the show, Mr. One Gotta Go Show.
And it's the other half, Mr. J. Fowl.
And this is the Front Page Podcast, baby. And why, man, look, bruh.
Yo.
I'm excited, bruh. I can't even sit still here because, for one, we got a big fight coming up.
Big fight.
You feel me? It's Canelo versus Crawford.
Man.
It's in Las Vegas.
Hell of a fight.
It's at the stadium. You feel me? Where the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. All right, I just wanted to say that. But there's nobody else that I wanted to talk to, or that we should want to talk to, other than the man we got in the place to be. Because when you're talking boxing, when you're talking somebody who's done called more fights than if you put all our ages together, he done called more fights than that. He done been around greatness. If you talk about, he done seen Pacquiao ringside, Floyd ringside, Mike, Evan, I mean, you name it. He's covered him. He's talked about him. He gave you play-by-play. If you wasn't watching and you heard this man commentating, he still gave you play-by-play. You feel me? So none other. On the Front Page Podcast, we got Al Bernstein, baby. On the front page.
Thank you. I don't usually get applause when I come
on. Nah, man, you get applause from me.
You get it here. Yeah, no doubt.
So how you been, Al, since the last time I seen you, man?
Yeah, we haven't visited for a little while. Yeah, things are good. I'm been busy doing the Big Time Boxing USA series on DAZN. We have another one coming up on September 19th.
All right.
And my own YouTube show. And
that's right.
Writing a column for Ring Magazine and trying to stay out of trouble.
Okay, hey.
I can do that.
You can stay out of trouble
easy. It's a little easier now than it was 30 years ago. But, still not that easy.
Right.
Trouble still finds you.
Al, I can't even waste your time, my time, Doo-Wop's time. We brought you here to talk about something that's been on the front page since the fight been announced. Canelo versus Crawford.
Man.
I mean, I'm not going to say is this the best matchup you've ever seen, because you've seen a lot of great matchups in your day, but where does this rank at to have these two level of fighters meet? Where does this rank at?
I think it's one of those fights that, the interesting thing is, it wasn't as if every boxing fan said, boy, I can't wait to see Canelo fight Terrence Crawford. In other words, it wasn't one of those fights. Like, there were more boxing fans that said, gee, I'd like to see Canelo fight David Benavidez. But having said that, I mean, among the hardcore boxing fans.
For sure.
Having said that, what they did, and this happens sometimes in boxing, they come up with a matchup that wasn't on everybody's mind, but kind of makes sense. And the proof is in the pudding. If you do one of those kind of matches and the interest is not there, you're going to find that out.
For sure.
In this case, obviously the interest was there because they've sold. I mean, I went online and looked at the the ticket sales and everything, and they've sold. Looks like they've already sold 30,000, 40,000 seats.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I believe
there's
they'll
not
sell
that
it
many
out.
left in Allegiant Stadium. So that alone is an indicator. The amount of attention and coverage the fight has gotten, and this is one of those fights that will also have a good barometer as we get closer to the fight. How much is the mainstream sports media covering the fight? It used to be in the old days, big fights were covered all the time by the mainstream sports media, not so much in recent years. And so that's always a barometer of whether it, really is as big as we think. As far as the actual matchup is concerned, when it was originally announced, I thought they were going to have a hard sell in convincing people that Crawford could come up 2 weight classes and take on a 168-pounder, because he already moved up. I mean, going up to 154, he started at 135.
He did.
So this would be 33 pounds from where he started. Yeah. That's a lot of weight to go up. But it appears that with the betting odds and the general perception of the public, they're not seeing this as an uneven fight. They're seeing it as a fight that could go either way.
Man, ask the man the question, man.
So
ask him, bro. Ask him, man. Ask him.
So I'm curious because we were just talking, kind of move in. They say Canelo he's not the same as far as his footwork. He's kind of lazy with his footwork. And so, do you think Bud takes advantage of that, or you think that's not a factor for Canelo?
Look, Canelo isn't the greatest, has never been the kind of fighter that had the greatest footwork. Like, for instance, cutting off the ring against people like Islam D. Lara. I mean, I did that fight years ago, and some other things.
That fight could have went either way, though. in my book. That fight could have went either way with
100%.
Canelo and
Yeah,
Lara. That could have went either way.
A little bit more offensively,
He could have done it.
He probably would have won that fight,
for sure.
But he just didn't, And there's some similarities because Crawford will have to be the boxer puncher. I mean, it's unlikely he would knock Canelo out. He has an iron chin.
Right.
But to your point about the footwork, Crawford will have an edge in that area, probably. Though it's also a misnomer to think that Crawford is the kind of guy that constantly moves and uses the ring, because he doesn't really do that.
No, he doesn't.
Right?
He does the thing where he kind of moves you out of the way.
But he's very good at using angles and everything. So that's where the Canelo footwork angle comes in. But I don't think it's going to be impossible for Canelo to find him. So I don't think the footwork is going to be the one thing that prevents Canelo Alvarez from doing well in this fight.
So what do you think that one thing is then? What is going to
Well,
prevent
if there is a
Canelo?
thing that prevents him from doing well, it's going to be that he has problems maybe with the hand speed of Crawford. Crawford does have very good hand speed. We don't talk about that much.
He does
he's
have
not
great hand speed.
A dazzling combination puncher, except when he wants to be.
When he wants to
or
be.
needs to be, right?
He turns up when he
he's
has
not-
to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's not a big volume puncher, but he will pick his spots
does.
to be whatever you want him to be, right? He's
Exactly.
one of those kind of fighters.
he
So
is.
there'd be spots where all of a sudden he shows you power. Another time when he shows you, the Spence fight was a perfect example. Some of the combinations in that fight were, announced that fight were dazzling. So the hand speed of Crawford could be a problem for him. Some of the angles that Crawford uses could be an issue for Canelo, so maybe that's part of the footwork thing. But and the other issue for Canelo, maybe because it sometimes becomes an issue, is how will he be in the later rounds? We've seen Canelo a little fatigued in fights in the later rounds.
I was just telling my buddy over
yeah.
there how this was going to go.
Yeah, so that's could be an issue for Canelo Alvarez, and Crawford is good in the later rounds.
That's when he turns up.
Perfect example is the Porter fight. Sean Porter, that fight was pretty even.
That was.
Going into the later rounds.
It was.
It really
It
was.
really was.
I don't remember how the judges had it, but even if they didn't have it close, it was a close fight.
Right.
And Crawford stepped on the gas.
He had to. Now, my next question is, Al, you've seen so much in the sport. At both of their levels in their career, you got Canelo, over 50 fights, made a ton of money in the game. You can call him an icon. You got Crawford over here, undefeated, taking over 4 divisions. He's winning belts. At where they at in their career right now, who would you say is taking the bigger risk?
That's a good question.
Oh, that's a good question. Probably, well, Crawford's risk is somewhat minimal because he's moving up 2 weight classes. So he'll get a pass for that. Maybe it's Canelo Alvarez because if he wins, people will inevitably say, especially if he wins, here's the other funny thing. If he wins convincingly, right, for sure, then people are going to say, oh, I picked out a small guy.
True.
If he loses or the decision is razor thin and he doesn't look great, then it's going to be up. So he's slipping now, and even this little guy was able to.
Right.
So it's probably Canelo Alvarez is risking more. Ironically, and some people. I'm not saying this is the correct attitude, but some people will chuckle because they will say, "Okay, so you avoided David Benavidez to pick on a guy that you thought, oh, small guy coming up and you're going to handle him."
See, I disagree.
And now that guy handles you. So some people would see that as karma.
But I'm going to say this to David Benavidez, man. Canelo wasn't running from you, bruh. He was not running from you. I want to give you my...
so?
No, because I believe that, see, Canelo's a businessman. He's been around the game for so long. He done took so much tutelage from Floyd Mayweather. He knows when and
Well,
where.
here's my question to you then.
Okay,
Here's
come
my
on,
question.
because I had a question, but you questioned me. I
Here's what
love
ask you
this.
about that.
Come on.
Are you suggesting that the reason not to fight Benavidez is it wasn't a good enough money fight?
Yes, I believe he's going to
Why
make.
did he fight all the other guys that were less known than Benavidez?
That's a
in the
great
last
question,
few fights?
and I got an answer too.
You
What is the
have
answer?
to.
That's because that's Canelo. He could do what he want to do.
No. Yeah, hold on. Let's backtrack.
Come on, all right, come on.
Okay, that is the reason he can do it.
Right.
It's not the reason he should do it.
I mean, I don't
because
think he's personally
so the
scared of
argument-
David.
But my point is, it kind of renders the argument neutered, because if it's just what's the biggest fight, Benavidez, except for maybe Crawford or even another Bivol fight,
Could have been.
and I don't even know if that's as big as Benavidez. Benavidez was the biggest money fight he had, other than Crawford. And
Ain't he getting
who
more
the last
now,
two guys
though?
he fought? Who did Canelo fight in his last two matches?
Nobody's?
Bivol. Right. No, he didn't fight
Nobody's. I
anybody
can
big.
say that. We was talking about that earlier.
Was
Yeah.
Berlanga that big?
Nah, Berlanga was a here you go.
Yeah, I mean,
Berlanga, you good too. I ain't taking nothing away
was
from you.
available and beatable.
Yeah, for sure.
So
150
those
million
are the two
percent.
criteria he's used. I'm not saying he had to fight Benavidez. However, if you constantly dodge the number one 168 pounder and you're the 168 pound champion, I hate to say it, it's called ducking.
Canelo. I'm not gonna let out.
Duck goose.
Oh
sorry.
man, you can whoop David, man.
I know. Well, if you personally apologize to him on my behalf, then he won't be mad at me. No,
Look
and
here, I'm apologizing on behalf of my big homie Al. All right.
Yeah, I know. And at the end of the day, listen, he does have the right to do what he wants.
For sure.
But if it's a sport, at some point, the guy who is the number one 168 pounder, at some point, if all the titles are tied up with one person, at some point that guy should have a chance to fight for the title.
Yeah.
True
You would
enough.
think, right?
True
But
enough.
he forced him to go up to 175, so we'll see.
True enough.
So
But
I want to go back because I want to hear the reverse. What is does Crawford have? You know, what is his going to be his thing that Canelo can capitalize on?
yeah, well, one of course is the physicality.
Okay.
I mean, even though when you look at them, you know, Crawford is just as tall, maybe an inch taller or
taller,
whatever.
yeah.
He's not as bulky and stocky. And,
Not naturally,
you know,
no.
Canelo has, and it's true, Canelo went up from 154 to 168,
Mm-hmm.
but he did it over the course of a couple weight classes, and he became a true 168 pounder, and even fought at 175 and was pretty effective. You know, he lost to Bivol, but he beat what's the name, Kovalev.
He
at
did beat
175.
Kovalev.
Okay.
So, so the size difference is a big issue for Crawford.
And that's what I noticed. Like a lot of fighters who go up in weight, they tend to have a hard time in their
Yeah,
ring.
it's hard.
They're tired. They're not as quick. And
Yeah.
they look bad on,
Well, that's
on
the
on
other
ring,
thing.
you know, on the
How
side.
will the weight agree? The extra weight agree with Crawford? Will he? And what will he come in at?
Yeah.
You know, in my opinion, he should come in at the lightest he can.
Yeah, that's
You
what
know,
I was gonna
always
say.
I always feel that about fighters that move up in weights.
I agree.
Don't come in at the heaviest you can.
Yeah.
Within reason, come in at the lightest, because it gives you still your mobility and everything. So yeah, for Crawford, I think the issues are going to be how will the weight affect him, and will the other man just be physically kind of stronger for you? And here's the other thing that makes this fight interesting. Canelo Alvarez is by nature a counterpuncher. He doesn't walk you down that much unless he has you in trouble.
Right.
So that gives Crawford kind of room to
Pick
figure
his
it out,
shots.
to maneuver it.
Yeah,
You know, it's
yeah.
not like
Okay.
you're fighting. I mean, it's like if you're a heavyweight and you're fighting Joe Frazier or Mike Tyson, you know you don't have time, you don't have space to figure out what it is.
Right,
You know
yeah,
what it's
yeah.
going to be, and
They're
you
going
might
to
be
work.
effective against it.
Yeah.
But you know, you don't have too many options about how you're going to fight. You know, you better you have to be a terrific boxer,
Right.
or you have to stop them in their tracks. But with Crawford, he can be a little bit of everything in this fight. You know, aggressive on occasion and do whatever. Then he could move. He could do that because Canelo kind of allows you the space to do that.
He
But
does.
where he always wins is when you are forced to take risks to get to him. He is going to counter you.
Yeah, he's gonna make you pay.
Yeah.
He's
And
gonna make you pay.
for that. Now, you know, one of the fights where he didn't was Bivol and Mayweather.
Right.
And Mayweather.
Bivol was a naturally bigger guy, though. You know, it was just Bivol was a naturally bigger dude. He was
yeah.
pushing him back. Hold up, little dude, get back. You know, that's how he was doing.
But
it.
again, he beat Kovalev at 175. So
Can we agree Kovalev was almost done? No.
Yeah, but he still had something in the tank.
He did.
He wasn't totally.
He wasn't the bone crusher.
Yeah,
he was
no,
just
he
the
wasn't
crusher. Yeah, he wasn't the bone crusher when he fought him.
He did go up. But yeah, no, but Bivol did have an advantage because of the size. But, and Bivol's not a giant, like Beterbiev is a bigger, stronger, light heavyweight
yeah, he is.
than Bivol is. Bivol is more of and a bigger puncher than Bivol. But that fight is interesting because Bivol was able to, even though he wasn't going to knock out Canelo either, because Canelo has that great chin.
He does.
He was able to back him up because of the volume of punches. That's what you can do to Canelo Alvarez. Mm-hmm. Even Mayweather did it in spots at a lower weight.
Because he's a counter puncher, and if something's coming too fast, Canelo will wait to get you.
And if you're super busy and you're kind of accurate, you can make him go backwards.
Right. You can.
And if he gets a little tired, and that's what happened in the Bivol fight.
He does. Now, would you say that now that we said what Terrence Crawford would have to do, would you say he would have to do that all night to box his way to a decision? Keep his hands busy knowing Canelo's a counter puncher?
I think he's going to have to be busier than he normally is. Because that's the other thing. Canelo Alvarez does get the benefit of the doubt from judges. Even in fights he loses.
The benefit of the doubt.
We all remember the even scorecard in the Mayweather fight.
Yeah.
And
I could not believe that.
Crazy.
And a couple of the Bivol cards were closer than they should have
But
been.
you know what? I think the judge that had it even was Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
It had to be Stevie. It had to be Stevie Wonder. It had to be.
Jose Feliciano.
It had to be one of them.
Or was it Ray Charles?
It had to be
George
Ray.
Shearing.
One of them. Or the three blind mice.
All of them could have been the guys that.
Or the three blind mice. Now, can I give you my take on the fight, Al?
I would love to hear it.
And if I
it's your show. You
can
do anything
say,
you want.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, my brother. Front Page Podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe. No, you the man. You the man. Ain't nobody outrank Al,
No,
baby.
there might be one or two. I'll tell you somebody outranks me, my wife.
I think everybody's wife outranks him at this
right?
point. You know what I'm saying? We all outrank
Leave
when
the
it comes to
garage door
that.
open and see what happens, right?
What?
Yeah, now you're in
You'll be
trouble.
on the couch. Leave that garage door
Go ahead,
open.
Or in the garage.
interrupted you.
No, you good, man. You can do whatever you want. This is your house for the next 30 minutes. But I think Terrence Crawford wins this fight. And I'm going to tell you why.
Could happen.
And I'm going to tell you why. I seen an interview. I forget what platform they was on.
Wait a second, though. After you just defended Canelo and after my alleged insult over the Benavidez, now you're picking Crawford to win the fight.
Yeah. I waited. You see how I waited?
You won't be offended at that.
No, not at all. Because, look, I'm a
You get in
Canelo.
trouble with your man Canelo.
Not at all. Look, I'm a Canelo fan. I've been a fan.
Right to pick. Go ahead.
I've been a fan of Canelo forever. I just think somewhere the buck stops.
Well, I like Canelo too. I do.
Yeah, he's a good fighter. Absolutely.
So go ahead.
But I seen Terrence Crawford say in the interview, because when fighters that's naturally smaller, they always want a weight clause in the contract.
Yeah.
You can't rehydrate to a certain level. Right. But when I seen Terrence Crawford look in the camera and say, I ain't want no weight clause. I don't give a damn if he come in the ring 200 pounds. I'm going to bust that ass. When I seen him say that,
that's interesting.
I have to ride with that.
But
because
confidence.
because I look at the Tank and Ryan Garcia fight. Now, Tank was the knockout artist, had nothing to be scared of, but he put that weight hydration clause on Ryan Garcia. Right, and it's like, why? Why? Because he's naturally the bigger dude. You want to keep him drained? Yeah. And that's why when I seen Terrence Crawford do that, I said, oh, yeah. I think that boy wins by majority. I honestly think he could stop him. Not knockout, just a stop.
Just stop him.
Yeah, just stop him. Yeah. Only because
it would take a lot though, because if you really think about it, I mean,
there's a lot of people would be upset.
Golovkin, got through Bivol,
But there's something about the precision of the accuracy of Terrence Crawford.
Well, he has the capability to to make you feel it, and but now. The other thing, though, is, so he comes off a fight against Madrimov, where he moved up to 154 and didn't win by that much.
He didn't, but Madronov was crafty though. He wasn't your everyday.
No,
He was a good amateur fighter. His footwork was great. He kept Crawford's timing off all night, so he wasn't just no easy pickings.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So Madronov wasn't horrible, but
he's a good fighter.
He had a challenge
but
for
I'm
Terrence
just saying,
Crawford.
He moved up in weight, and it's not the kind of performance you're expecting against Canelo. Now and fighters from fight to fight often are totally different. So it doesn't mean that he won't do that against Canelo. Yeah, anybody that picks anybody. I was in the 7-Eleven, or I don't know, one of the gas stations getting gas the other day, and some guy recognized me and said, was talking, and he said, so what's going to happen to Canelo and Crawford? I said, honestly, I don't know. He said, no, you have to know.
Yeah, you got to know. Because when we ask you, you got to give an answer, though.
And honestly, it's one of those fights where I could easily see either man winning this fight.
Yeah.
I get the arguments for Crawford. I get the arguments for Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah.
And either one of them might get the job done. Now, and I think that was something I wasn't sure was going to be the way so many people would feel about this fight. I honestly thought that people were just going to assume Canelo was going to win, and he's too big for him, and whatever. That is not the way people feel, as evidenced by your pick and other people. I'll be very curious to see when we get right up to the fight and they poll everybody, all the pundits and everything, how many people pick Crawford, how many pick Canelo Alvarez. And it will not be like 8 out of 10 for Canelo Alvarez, as it might have thought it might be. It will be more like it'll either be an even split, or it'll be Canelo Alvarez with an edge, but not a monstrous edge, probably.
Okay, so I have two questions, two-part. With that, if it does go to distance, do you think that who would the judges favor?
It just depends,
Because Canelo always
is Stevie Wonder gonna judge?
Yeah, you're always suspicious when a Canelo fight goes the distance. Right?
Yeah, you always.
Just all we need to do is ask Gennady Golovkin about that. So
that's my dog, man. That's my dog.
If Terrence Crawford is able to really control rounds.
Yeah.
Maybe in this, and now the three judges are very experienced judges, but whenever I hear that, honestly, it
does nothing for you.
My back. Who cares if they're experienced?
Right.
So many experienced judges are either incompetent or biased.
Right.
It happens all the time. So, I hope they judge the fight accurately, and of course, if they're close rounds, I get it then.
Right.
So if it's a close fight, it's a close fight. But if we can see and it's obvious, then you don't want them to judge it, wrongly.
Right.
I think look at it this way. Terrence Crawford needs this fight to go the distance, because you may be right. Maybe he can stop him, but nobody's done it before. He's been hurt like 2 times in his career. One time really hurt by Cotto's brother early, way back when he was 154. And then I think Bivol had him stunned momentarily. I mean, that's not a lot of time. And Golovkin can punch.
Yeah, he can.
And while he hit Canelo with a lot of big punches, never had him really hurt. So out of fatigue maybe and a volume of punches, maybe there's a way to stop him. But Crawford needs to go 12 rounds in this fight to win. So in some ways you would say, well, that enhances his chances. But then we've got the bugaboo of Canelo giving the benefit of the doubt from the judges. So
right. So then if Crawford takes this, does this prove that Canelo is on the decline, or that Bud is just that great?
Well, it depends on the fight. Let's say it's a great fight.
Okay.
Let's say it's a back and forth terrific fight. Then it proves that Terrence Crawford is supremely special, in my opinion. Even if he loses.
Agreed.
It'll show if Canelo fights at his best, or whatever his best is now, he's still a capable fighter. He's just got a lot of tread on the odometer. He started very young.
Yeah, that's what I was telling him
earlier.
earlier.
Very young, and he's been at this for a long time. So, but he's not a shot fighter by any stretch of the imagination. Crawford is also toward the end of his career.
For sure.
He just has less
wear and tear on the body.
So if it's a great fight, and it goes either way. I don't think it mostly just shows that Crawford is a terrific fighter and he was able to meet the challenge. Now, if we see a fight where Canelo Alvarez looks old, then guess what? He's old.
Right?
And it might be a case of him being less than he was. And it'll depend also on how much Crawford takes advantage of it. Let's say Canelo doesn't look great, but we can't say the same about Crawford in this fight.
Right.
Well, then we know it's Canelo's age. But, I think the circumstances are going to dictate that. And the other problem is, it doesn't really matter, though, what I just said, because somebody's going to make the narrative either way anyway.
For sure.
I mean, we now live in an age where there's no nuance. There's no gray area.
No, it's all right there.
What will happen is, you asked a reasonable question. What's going to happen afterwards is, if Crawford wins, there's going to be a certain group of people saying, "Oh, Canelo, look at him. He's old. He's terrible. He beat an old man." If Canelo wins, there's going to be people saying, "Yeah, he picked on the smaller guy." They're going to stick to their narrative. Yeah.
Either way it goes.
Some people. And you hope that group somewhere you hope 70% are going to look at it and think about it and say, well, a little of this, a little of that,
For sure.
But,
no, I can get it. Man, let me see that bottle of alky over there, bro. Can I see your bottle over there? Because this next question I got, I thought you had it. You was drinking.
No, this is just a...
That's okay. Well, look here, man. This next question right here, sponsored by Alky Water, baby. The best water in the business, sold in stores all over Las Vegas. Make sure you go get some. All the alkaline in the water to keep you crispy. Now, Mr. Al Bernstein, if I ask you this question, like the guy at the gas station asked you the question, you're going to give me the keep me safe answer, all right? You're going to give me the politically safe answer.
Safe.
But hold on, because I don't want you to tell me you're going to know, so I'm finna ask you in a way where you're going to tell me who's going to win, all right? Yeah. So if me and you was hanging out, right?
Yeah,
we were hanging out in the bar, right? Yeah. We're throwing a couple back, having a good time.
Right.
And then we look up and see Terrence Crawford and Canelo about to scrap because they had too much to drink.
Right.
Who would win that fight?
If
we're in the bar and Canelo and Terrence Crawford was about to fight, no ring, no gloves, just two men.
And they had too much to drink and got mad at each other.
And they were about to fight.
Oh.
Yeah, who's that? Who's winning?
Because you won't pick them in the ring. So if we're in the bar and we're watching them.
We're in the bar.
Yeah, we're in the bar.
Let's see. That's a good question. That is a really good.
I knew I'd get you.
That's almost as interesting a question. And here let me clarify this.
Stumped him.
It's not that I'm taking the safe way out of them in the ring.
For sure.
Honestly, I do not have a strong opinion on which one's going to win. I really don't.
You're not leaning one way?
If you force me.
Yes, gun to your head.
I'm still leaning to Canelo because he's bigger.
Okay.
However, I have no problem with somebody telling me, as you did, that Terrence Crawford's going to win the fight. I accept that as a distinct possibility. Now, they're drunk and they're in the bar.
Yes.
We got to go back to that.
Yeah.
So now, here are the variables there. Canelo Alvarez is a rich guy who golfs.
He does golf.
And rides horses like I do.
He does.
Okay.
I forgot you ride. Yeah, you told me you rode horses. Yeah, you did.
Now, that doesn't mean he's not a gritty guy.
True.
He is.
True.
And that doesn't mean he didn't get his share of fights
True.
in
True.
Mexico and other places.
True.
Thing.
True.
Now, Terrence Crawford from Omaha, Nebraska, who we don't know, is he grittier when they're in a bar? I'm going to lean to this bigger, stronger guy in a bar fight.
Okay.
Only because... even though skill matters as well, but it matters less than it does in the ring.
True.
So if we
True.
think,
True.
That's right. I don't know how many fights you guys have been in. I grew up on the south side of Chicago, so I was in a couple. I'm sure you guys have been in a couple.
For sure.
And when I was in fights in high school and I was already starting to box, and box as an amateur, the thing that I knew that the other guy didn't know is that I would take 2 steps back, and I would jab him and triple jab him because I didn't want him to get a hold of me.
Right. Yeah.
And if that worked, I could land a right hand, and we might be done.
And we might be
I'm not a
done.
big puncher. I was never a big puncher as a boxer. But that guy, he could be done. And that's why in a bar fight, you couldn't pay me enough to throw a left hook. Couldn't pay me enough. Because to do that, I got to not put myself in harm's way with this guy. Whether you can grab me or something.
Okay.
So skill does matter in a bar fight, right?
Yeah.
But who would I pick? I'd probably lean to Canelo on that.
Okay. So you picking Canelo in both situations, the ring and in the bar.
I would pick him in the bar fight.
Okay.
With a little more conviction. In the actual fight, it's a very tepid, lukewarm, maybe a lean, but not really, because I don't want the guy in the gas station to think I lied to him. He might be watching the podcast. And then you say, look at that guy.
Look at that guy.
He told them, but he lied to me.
No, don't lie to the fans. You can't lie to the fans.
He might come to my music show and then not applaud.
Might I add, he's at the Tuscany nightly. I don't know. I don't want to say what nights, but I've went down there. I've seen the show. This brother right here sings Georgia on My Mind like a classic.
Wow.
Well,
I've seen it.
Be there just to let people know. I hope you guys can come.
You know we will. I told the homie we had to go up there.
It should be a fun night. I'm going to be at the Tuscany Hotel and Casino on September 11th.
Okay.
That's dope.
2 nights before the Canelo-Alvarez fight. Not the one in the bar that they have when they get mad, but the one that they have in the ring. The other one might come later, or I don't think they'll let them do it beforehand because that would ruin a $1 billion payday.
No, no, go ahead.
But I'll be there at the Tuscany Casino in Flamingo in the Piazza Lounge. We have shows at 8 p.m. and at 9:30. No cover charge, so just come by, have a couple cocktails, and enjoy the show. We're going to do music, blues, country, standards, Great American Songbook. I love, although ironically, somebody pointed this out to me, almost every single blues song that I sing has something to do with Chicago, which is my hometown, which is ironic. I don't know why. I guess a lot of blues songs have Chicago in them. But anyway, I do a bunch of them. And we'll have boxing trivia where fans can win prizes. So they can come by there, and we'll have a segment for boxing trivia plus music. And I've got a great group of musicians, and it should be fun.
That's cool. Just no fighting when you get drunk.
I'm hoping.
No
that place is too classy, baby.
Get
no
as
bar
drunk
fights.
as you like, but hopefully don't get in a fight.
He sings so smooth, ain't no fighting in there.
That's amazing.
But now, then I'll have to call him. I'll have to announce it from the stage.
You would have to.
Which
let me ask you this, Al. Let me ask you this. I know you don't do it for HBO and Showtime and all of that, and you've worked for both networks, right? And I've always wanted to know this. How do you think they went out of the business of boxing after being in business for like 40, 50 years? You got HBO been doing boxing since before I was born. Showtime probably been doing boxing since I was born. I'm 45. Yeah. How do they go out of business like that? And you worked for both companies for so long.
I wasn't really with HBO. I only did one thing for HBO, a pay-per-view.
Okay, my bad.
I was with ESPN and I was with Showtime for 20 years.
Okay.
But they were paid channels that had boxing on them. HBO, they kind of went out of business, or they stopped doing boxing for different reasons almost. HBO, they weren't. I mean, the reason they did boxing is because their premium customers wanted it. Once they put it on, and they kept doing, both of them, both Showtime and HBO were very heavy into audience surveys to make sure they were still providing what they wanted. Because if you're paying for something, they want to make sure that we're giving you what you want. Right. And always, I can only speak for Showtime, though I think it's probably true to HBO too, those surveys would come back, we like the boxing. So even if the viewership numbers went down a little bit, if they still had most of the people that were responding saying, we want it, they're still going to keep it on.
Still going to keep it on.
And so HBO, they got to the point where they were having some problems they were doing a lot more pay-per-views than they were servicing their subscribers. They'd run out of kind of with the promoters they had, the fights they wanted. It was just kind of a natural progression for them, and it just kind of petered out. Showtime, which lasted about 4 or 5 more years after them, interestingly, most of the reason they stopped was Paramount just didn't want to be in the boxing business. When Showtime went with Paramount Plus, they just didn't, because that year we had done pay-per-views that made a lot of money for Showtime.
Right.
Now, still, the regular fights during the year, you had the production costs, plus they had to give PBC, a rights fee.
The fees, yeah.
So if you take all of it, after they made all the money from those pay-per-views and they were very successful, they were probably left, the cost they were left with to have the boxing was the production costs, which were considerable.
Oh,
but
yeah.
a lot less than you would pay for that much scripted programming. So it was surprising that they didn't do it because it was a successful formula still. But they just determined that they didn't want to be in the boxing business. So, and that was what it really boiled down to.
Man.
Now, premium channels are in a state of flux anyway. All of television is in a state of flux. We don't know where it's going to land with all the streamers and everything.
Right, yeah.
And where boxing will land is even more problematic because it's mostly an American issue, not so much internationally. But where it will be, I mean, ESPN isn't doing the sport. The two premium channels are gone. There's no networks, other networks jumping to do it. Even the main streamers, the deal that PBC has with Amazon is weak. They only do one or two.
I don't think that deal's going to last long.
So it's basically them doing pay-per-views.
For sure.
You can do pay-per-views with anybody.
Netflix
occasionally does. Like
can you believe this fight is free?
That's amazing.
Can you believe that?
That's a big.
That's how you know how much money they about to make.
Right.
Or have made.
Right. So for Netflix to put that much money into this, I mean, obviously their feeling is, because they did it with the Tyson fight and the a couple of the other gimmick fights, their feeling is there's enough benefit to them from these one-offs that they do on boxing to do it. Now, everybody keeps thinking, this means they're going to get involved in boxing and do it on a regular basis. They haven't yet.
Right.
So I don't know if it means that.
We'll see.
People say that, the TKO thing with White and the Turkey. Sheik, that's going to include Netflix, but it hasn't yet.
Right.
They're not saying it is. So, but it is pretty remarkable that this fight is going to be available for so many people. And that is certainly good for boxing.
Right. For sure. Now, I want to dive back into you a little bit, Al, because we've been talking about Terrence. We've been talking about Canelo. Now, you gave a list of things you've been doing since we haven't seen you on Showtime pay-per-view boxing. Now, people that love you, love the way you call the sport, where can they find you at? Where you still commentating?
They can find. Yeah, that's a good question. They can find my YouTube show on the Salida Promotions YouTube channel.
There it is.
I do the Big Time Boxing show. It's about once a month. The next one will be September 19th on DAZN. If you have that, streaming boxing channel. And they can see my column in Ring Magazine. I've been doing a bunch of other. I just did a couple of fights that were streamed on a new streaming service called Millions.co.
Okay.
That is going to be doing a lot of boxing. Okay. And I'm going to Nashville next week to do a fight that's going to be. It's on a syndicated. I don't know all the specifics of where it goes to, but I'm doing a lot of different things. One of the things about not being with the network is you're now a free agent and available to anybody that wants to ask you.
True.
So that part is good. And
I know you like that.
And what I've found is there's a whole other world out there. People that didn't even think they could ever ask me to do anything that are now asking me. So that's kind of fun. And
it's a beautiful thing, baby. That's Al Bernstein, baby.
So I like that. And I enjoy doing it. I want to do it for a couple more years for sure. If I wasn't doing it well, I would stop. but I feel like I am. So,
Well, when you retire, can you put my name right behind yours so I can just take over where you?
I
Or if
will.
you need a counterpart, I will come out there and
you
help
go.
you.
All
Don't
right,
even.
all right, I
but
got you.
I do got one more question for him. While
Yeah,
I
go
do, because the man is right here. You know what I'm saying? You got something you want to ask
But
me?
you go.
Okay, Al, can you hand me that bottle right there? It's right there. There
you
you
go.
go. Yeah,
There
see,
you
Al.
are. You can do your plug.
See, oh yeah, we see. Al knows,
There
baby,
you go. You
because
gotta do
this
your
is the
plug.
question.
Gotta plug your
And this
sponsor.
question right here is sponsored by Alki, and you know it's good water when Al Bernstein hand you a bottle. All right, that's all I want to say. You know it's good.
Tap in.
But we was talking about these gimmick fights, right? And I got one I want to ask you, my brother Jake Paul and Tank Davis. Pump it or dump it, or I mean, what has happened in the boxing for that to happen, and how do you feel about that
so my
matchup?
theory about the gimmick fights has always been that they're one-offs, and at the end of the day, they don't really affect the sport that much badly or positively. I know people say, well, they bring a lot of eyes to the sport, and I guess that's true sometimes. And I did at some Jake Paul fights. We had some on Showtime pay-per-view and whatever. Now, that viewpoint is tested with this one, though. The reason it's tested with this one is because there is a active champion who is a big part of kind of an equation that means something to boxing fans that hasn't quite lived up to where they wanted it to be. All the, the Stevenson, Haney, Davis, Garcia, all that whole Tifino Lopez, all of those people have not provided for us what Barrera, Pacquiao and Marquez and Morales did, or what Hagler, Hearns, Leonard, Duran did.
Or Castillo Corrales.
Right. Well, those guys, there was a couple there. Casamayor, they were all mixed in. And then even the era of De La Hoya, Vargas, Trinidad, and they all ended up kind of, and Corte, they all ended up kind of fighting each other more. Okay. These guys didn't do that. Haven't done it yet now. They've done it a little bit here and there, but not really. So now you're taking one of those people out of the equation at a time when he just had a controversial decision that people want to see a redo.
Right.
Because...
Now, did he run? Are you saying he ran like Canelo running from Benavidez? He ran from Roach to go get the money?
You can make a strong case for it.
Oh, Tank. Strong case.
I mean, because that fight was being negotiated.
For sure. It was supposed to be out here, too.
The people for Jake Paul claim that, no, there was going to be a Jake Paul-Davis fight. We had talked about it, he said, before the Roach fight. But that still doesn't mean they couldn't change their mind and do the Roach fight and then do that. So this one does have an impact on boxing, I think, because it takes one of the fighters out of the equation.
Right.
And then you have the other odd thing. I mean, it's called an exhibition. Is it an exhibition? Is it a real
because
fight?
one
guy
80.
weighs 60 pounds more than the other guy.
That's not
it's. I don't know. What does it mean? This one I got to say is more. I understand people being more vexed with this than even some of the others. Like Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. Who could? I don't care. Mike Tyson's
for sure.
Out of the sport, Jake Paul is.
I think Mike held back a little bit too.
He did.
I think so.
Pardon?
I think Mike held back a little bit. Didn't want to hurt that boy.
Jake Paul did, depending on who you believe.
We seen Tyson fight.
I seen the frustration.
Roy.
Mike,
when he fought Roy. He fought Roy way harder than he fought Jake Paul.
Well, or he was capable of doing it.
He was a little younger then.
I don't know. So you could look at that. You could find a million ways to look at that,
right.
and they all might be. They could be right. But it's a tricky. The Paul Davis fight. There's not too much. It's hard, in my opinion. It's hard to put a positive spin on it from a boxing standpoint. I just don't know how. Now, one of the other fights like that, you could say, was when both Fury and Joshua stopped to fight Ngannou, the mixed martial artist.
That, yeah.
Here's the one. So you might say, well, that has to be judged in the same way. And I did think it was kind of odd that they did it. Here's one thing about that. They didn't take a lot of time off.
Right.
And they kind of snuck those in, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Like, and
Real
then they
swift,
right away
too,
went
yeah.
back to their
Real
so
swift,
it
too.
wasn't like that stalled the whole, because all those guys mostly ended up fighting each other. I mean, we missed out on Wilder, but that was more a Wilder and Joshua was the one that really got stalled.
Yeah, that would have been a good fight.
Yeah, that would have been a hell of a fight.
At the time.
And then
Yeah,
by
at
the
the time,
time
for
music
sure.
was on the scene, Wilder had already faded. So really that was the one. But most of those guys fought each other, almost all of them. And of course we got a trilogy with Wilder and Fury that was so exciting.
It was.
And we got Joshua against,
Andy. Did he fight Andy yet?
Yeah,
he fought Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz beat that ass.
Yeah.
Andy Ruiz beat that ass.
So the Ngannou thing didn't quite disrupt things as much as this, but most of the other ones are, seem like they're not affecting boxing. But this one does have an impact.
Man, Al, man, we sure appreciate you, bro. You got anything
This
you
is
want
my
to?
last question.
Yeah,
And
for
this
sure,
real quick,
so we
got a
can
couple
wrap it
minutes
up.
that we could wrap it up. Speaking of gimmicky fights or fights that probably shouldn't, Clarissa Shields and Ali.
Layla Ali.
Yeah, that's stupid.
It shouldn't happen. I agree.
That's an idiotic idea. Because
I agree.
Layla Ali is way past fighting.
Right.
There's no reason to have that fight.
It's nothing to prove.
Well, I know
It's already
Clarissa
proved.
Shields. I know Layla Ali. I've known Layla Ali for years and years. If they were in the same era, it would be a great fight.
It would have been a great fight. Yeah.
There is a fight that I think is really interesting. Clarissa Shields, now that she moved up all the way to heavyweight, there aren't a lot of. She's beaten the women.
Yeah, she's
that
running
makes
through
sense
them.
there.
Yeah.
But here's the fight that I think is the most appealing with Clarissa Shields.
Let's hear it.
And that is Michaela Meyer.
Okay.
And the reason I say it is because if Shields can get down to 154, that's the lowest she could get. Or they could even make it a catch weight a couple pounds above that.
Okay.
But not too much for Meyer.
About 58.
Meyer has moved up to 147 and can be at 154 and still be effective. And they're both game to do it. They're both game to do it. I'll tell you what. Now, Shields may be too powerful for Michaela Meyer, but I don't know. Michaela Meyer has a really good chin. And Shields isn't as a heavyweight, though, she has been more of a knockout puncher than she was at the lower weights.
True.
She was more of she had pop in her punch, but she won more often by decision most of the time.
Right.
Her and Michaela Myers, I think, is a great fight because the other women at 168, Savannah Marshall and her had a great fight. But Savannah Marshall, we saw her against Shadeja Green, coming back off a long layoff. She wasn't quite the same.
Yeah, her timing was off. Timing was off. I seen that.
If she has a couple fights, she might be a
right,
good fight for
get back
Shields.
into her rhythm.
Shadeja Green is inconsistent. She's good. She's got some power, but I don't know. And Franchon Cruz, I did her last fight. It wasn't a great effort by her because she came off a long layoff. And all of those fighters are older. Michaela Meyer, in her prime, and mechanically, Clarissa Shields and Michaela Meyer both have one thing that you have to say about them. Both have improved dramatically as fighters as they've gone on. They're both great amateurs, Olympians. So they didn't start from a low place.
Right.
But even with that, they keep getting better.
Absolutely.
And I think watching those two women in the ring, the only thing that will make it, if something makes it a mismatch, it will be the size, that Shields has been the bigger fighter, and maybe she's more powerful. But if you make her come down to 154, then she's not up there at 175 anymore. So,
we'll see what happens.
She's not as much of a dynamic punching threat. I think that could be a great fight.
But you heard it here on the front page. That's going to be a great fight. So, Clarissa,
I think
y'all better get it together around here so you can do it.
I think it's got a chance to happen, too.
Let's get a more reasonable fight going on.
I think it's kind of thing where they may just all figure out this is really the best one to make.
Yeah.
For every now. Meyer has a lot of options. She could fight Price to unify the title. She can fight Baumgardner again. There's more fights available from Michaela Myers, but this one might be the biggest money fight, maybe. And she loves challenges.
For sure.
And
I know she does.
She's not really risking that much. If she goes and loses to Shields, come right back down.
Come right back down and do her thing.
And nobody's going to be mad at her.
At all.
So,
Man. Well, Al, Thank you so much for coming through to the Front Page Podcast, man.
I can't wait to see you guys on September 15th.
You know, we coming to see you out.
Yeah, we're gonna check you out.
I would have you sing on the spot, but I ain't gonna do you like that. I'm gonna tell everybody to come see you.
Here's one that I do that's a specialty song that was written for me when I was an ESPN announcer. I don't know if you heard me do this one, but this is written for me. It's called the ESPN Blues.
Okay.
I woke up in Chicago, had my eggs and toast.
Now.
Packed my overnight bag, then headed for the coast.
Okay.
The airport's always crowded.
It is.
But everybody's got to pay their dues. I got the ESPN Sports Announcers Blues. There you go.
All right.
On
the Front Page Podcast, baby. You feel me? Only the Front Page can get Al to do that.
I got to give you a little taste.
I appreciate that because he ain't even gave.
We're going to see you. We're going to come check you.
He ain't even gave Showtime a taste of that singing. I feel better than Showtime sitting right here, baby. Al, thank you so much. Let me get some dap on that. Go give me some.
Good to work. Good to be with you.
Oh, man. Like I said, this is the Front Page Podcast, man. I'm one half of the show, Mr. One Gotta Go Show.
And I'm the other 50%, Mr. J Fowl.
And this is the Front Page Podcast. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. Thank you for watching again. And we out.